529 plan is our favorite college savings account, but what are some ways that you can use your 529 plan that aren't for college? I've got 4 ways, that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard, I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. For my entire career, 20 years, the 529 plan has been our preferred way of planning for college education, college expenses, whether you've got a child that you're wanting to help with some or all of college expenses, or a grandchild. Using the 529 plan is a tremendous financial instrument where you can save up at a federal level where there's no tax benefit, but there might be a benefit with your state on your contributions. And then the dollars in that account, the 529 plan, are sheltered. You can invest them however you wish, and it's sheltered from growth or from tax, and all that activity, interest, dividends, capital gains, that sort of stuff doesn't land on your tax return. And then if you use the money for a qualifying college expense or educational expense, that growth comes out tax-free. So it works just like a Roth IRA, but for college instead. So we always think of it as a college savings tool. In fact, I still often refer to it as 529 college savings plan. And that's what it is, but yet, thanks to some recent laws, it's become much more than that. And you can use the 529 plan for more than just college. Now, if for you, this is your plan, your way of saving up for college, fantastic. But for those of you that have maybe more going on, or there's other use cases that may apply, I've got 4 other ways that you can use this 529 plan other than directly college expenses. And the first is K-12 expenses. So you can now use up to 10 grand a year per beneficiary from the 529 for K-12 tuition. Now, tuition only, not room and board and whatnot, because if it's primary school K-12, I'm assuming there isn't room and board unless it's a boarding school, private school, something like that, or they're not living at home. But it's K-12 tuition. And got this question recently, that's for public, private, or religious school. Okay, so why would you pay tuition for a public school? Well, if your child lives out of district, and in order to get them into a different school, or maybe the school they were going to, maybe there's a certain fee or whatever tuition that you need to pay. So up to 10 grand per year per beneficiary can be drawn and used as a qualified educational expense from that 529 plan for K-12 tuition. Now, you're going to want to be aware of 2 things with this. One, if you're going to use your 529 for this purpose, that might influence how you invest the dollars, because if you're going to use these dollars, the money you save into the 529 plan for college, well, then it's got years to grow and so on, and so you might take a little bit more risk. But if you're putting the money in and then you might use it in a couple of years for K-12, then it's not going to have a lot of time to grow, and therefore you're not going to want to take a lot of risks. So that's one. And then the second is, be aware if your state offers a state tax benefit, a deduction or a credit, be aware that if you draw the dollars out for K-12 education, that may influence the benefit that you get at the state level. Many states have clarified this for now, and I believe most states say, no, you still get the state benefit, but something to be aware of and make sure of. The second way you can use your 529 plan for something other than directly college expenses, and this is an indirect way, and this is, you can now use your 529 plan to pay up to 10 grand on student loans per lifetime. For your entire lifetime, you can withdraw 10 grand of 529 plan money and pay down a student loan. For my entire career, people have asked this question. Well, wait a second, can I use my 529 for student loans? And up until a couple of years ago, that answer was no. And it never really made sense, didn't really make sense to me either. And that is, well, wait a second, I've saved up, I've got money in this college savings account. I got a loan for college instead. Why can't I use this money to pay off that loan? But up until a couple of years ago, you couldn't. Now you can, but there's limitations. And like I said, for the beneficiary on that 529 plan, 10 grand for their entire life can be withdrawn out of that 529 plan and go towards go paid on your student loans. Be aware also, as I said before, this might influence how you invest these dollars, but it certainly might influence whether you have to repay any of the state tax benefits that you received. Here in Indiana, where we're headquartered, there's a fantastic state benefit, a tax credit that you get on your contribution, but if you withdraw the dollars for a non-qualified expense, you actually have to repay, or that tax credit is recaptured. Withdrawing the money to pay down on student loans, even though it's okay, it's a qualified expense at the federal level, the state of Indiana has said that's a non-qualified expense, and therefore if you pull the dollars out for Indiana for that purpose, then you've got to repay the Indiana tax benefit. So something to be aware of there, but that's a second non-college directly use for your 529 plan. Third way to use your 529 plan that's not for college is through an apprenticeship program. And these are becoming more and more popular as we're dealing with really high educational expenses and the student loan crisis. And certain industries are definitely saying, students are graduating college and they don't quite have the skills that we're looking for. Can I craft a certain post-grad or post-high school education experience that really helps someone get connected to and get equipped with the skills necessary for this industry and this role? And I actually think, guys, that seems pretty enticing. I think we'll probably see more of that. And these formal apprenticeship programs, most of them are qualifying educational expenses that you can use your 529 plan for. Not technically college, although a lot of colleges sort of endorse, or they're building they're co-opting these apprenticeship programs with the industry or with an association, and many of them 529 plans are eligible. You can use them. These are qualified educational expenses. This is still new, and so if you're exploring that, make sure you explore and confirm, okay, can I use my 529 plan for this apprenticeship program? Many of them, though, that answer is yes. And then the fourth non-college way that you can use your 529 plans, now this is hot off the presses from the Secure Act 2.0, creating lots of planning opportunities, and it comes into effect starting next year, and that is you can transfer $529, unused $529, into a Roth IRA for that beneficiary. Now, lots of limitations and still some questions we're waiting for the IRS to clarify, but one limitation is the maximum lifetime transfer from a 529 plan to a Roth IRA is $35,000. That's one. Second, that 529 plan needs to have been open for at least 15 years, so start that clock right now. Any contributions that you've made to that 529 plan in the past 5 years and the growth on those dollars are not eligible to be transferred. So you've got to wait that 5 years for those. And then that transfer, it takes the place of the contribution for that beneficiary, for that child. So you wouldn't be able to transfer a certain amount, up to that contribution limit, so $6,500 in next year, to that Roth IRA, and then have that child also contribute to their Roth IRA. No, it takes the place of that. But they start next year, and this is going to create a significant amount of flexibility and tax planning strategies for those of you that either have kids or might go to school yourself or maybe aren't eligible to fund a Roth IRA. Lots of use cases here, but 529 plan soon to be able to be transferred to a Roth IRA. All right, so there you have it. Which of those apply to you, if any? Work with your certified financial planner. And because of how these rules have shifted, more and more people should be considering opening a 529 plan, funding a 529 plan than they had previously. And therefore, work with your certified financial planner, see if it's something you should be doing, see if any of these strategies make sense. If you don't have a CFP on your team, contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@Korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go and take your next wise step in your financial life.